AITA for grounding my 16-year-old son for a month after he called his stepdad a slur. I'm 43M, my son is 16M. I'm divorced, have been for a few years now, and my ex remarried recently. Her new husband, Jonathan, is black, we're white. He and my ex are now expecting a baby together. He also has 2 teenage boys himself. My ex and I share custody, but our son spends most of his time at my place because he has more room and privacy here. Last weekend he was at his mom's and on Sunday, he called me all upset saying to come pick him up. I rushed over there and found out that he got into a fight with Jonathan over some chores, and Jonathan locked him out of Wi-Fi and banned him from video games until he does his chores, which is how my ex and I also discipline him, and Jonathan has our permission to do the same. If my son acts out, he can use the same methods he uses with his sons. More long-term serious punishments are of course decided between my ex and I, but no video games today type of thing is totally fine for Jonathan to do. My ex and Jonathan then told me that my son got all upset over this punishment and told Jonathan to FCK off. Jonathan then told him to stop talking like that, to which my son replied, "You and your sons ruined my life, so you don't get to tell me what to do. I won't take orders from man anyway." I asked my son if this is all true. He said yes. He actually called him the N-word because, well, isn't it true? I lost it and told my son he is grounded for the whole month of December. My ex agreed. He is obviously annoyed and angry because he had tons of plans with his friends. He said that I am overreacting to one word and am being unfair. My brother and mom agree with my son and are saying that the punishment doesn't fit the crime. AITA. I'm 43M, my son is 16M. I'm divorced, have been for a few years now, and my ex remarried recently. Her new husband, Jonathan, is black, we're white. He and my ex are now expecting a baby together. He also has 2 teenage boys himself. My ex and I share custody, but our son spends most of his time at my place because he has more room and privacy here. Last weekend he was at his mom's and on Sunday, he called me all upset saying to come pick him up. I rushed over there and found out that he got into a fight with Jonathan over some chores, and Jonathan locked him out of Wi-Fi and banned him from video games until he does his chores, which is how my ex and I also discipline him, and Jonathan has our permission to do the same. If my son acts out, he can use the same methods he uses with his sons. More long-term serious punishments are of course decided between my ex and I, but no video games today type of thing is totally fine for Jonathan to do. My ex and Jonathan then told me that my son got all upset over this punishment and told Jonathan to FCK off. Jonathan then told him to stop talking like that, to which my son replied, "You and your sons ruined my life, so you don't get to tell me what to do. I won't take orders from man anyway." I asked my son if this is all true. He said yes. He actually called him the N-word because, well, isn't it true? I lost it and told my son he is grounded for the whole month of December. My ex agreed. He is obviously annoyed and angry because he had tons of plans with his friends. He said that I am overreacting to one word and am being unfair. My brother and mom agree with my son and are saying that the punishment doesn't fit the crime. AITA. AITA for telling my dad his gift wasn't a gift. My BF and I were having dinner with my dad and his wife a few months ago, and they mentioned that they had gotten tickets to Cirque du Soleil. I told him that my BF and I would love to go see it looked really cool. A few days later he excitedly told me he had gotten us tickets for the same night and he sent them to me via email. He mentioned that the tickets weren't together because he bought them at separate times, but he figured we could drive together. I figured no big deal, it's a date anyways. Last night we had dinner with him and his wife, and over conversation I found out that the tickets he gave me were his and his wife's tickets, and they had upgraded to the VIP experience, which involves special seating and special bathrooms and concessions and free alcohol. I got a bit upset and told my dad it didn't sound like he did this for me, but because his wife wanted an upgrade and they just threw me the scraps, and that wasn't a gift. He told me I didn't have to go if that's how I felt, and that I was being spoiled, and his wife told me I need to effing grow up. He is always going out and doing extravagant things with his wife, and I know they could have afforded to get us the upgraded passes too, but of course, only his wife gets the red carpet. AITA. Yes, AITA. He's not obligated to give you any tickets, and he probably could have traded his towards the premium package. The polite answer was thank you. Honestly, I can never understand teenagers who think just because their parents have money and live a luxurious life, then the teenagers should as well. We were once in a long-haul flight in business class, and right behind us was a couple in their 40s. They had their teenagers in economy, business ticket is $5K, and the kids kept coming over and complaining to their parents how it's not fair and they should switch seats. I bet the parents spent the majority of their adulthood working hard and raising young kids with no break, and when they can finally enjoy it for a minute. They are called awful. My husband and I took our 6 kids and their partners on all expenses paid southern vacation this year. When we got to the hotel and were checking in, my daughter and her husband told the concierge they had just gotten married a few months before. They were ecstatic for them, so they upgraded them to a beachfront room and VIP. What did my daughter do? She said, "No way. Please do that for my mom and stepdad. They deserve it more than we do." And yes, we took that room and the VIP and lived it up. The kids would run by the VIP lounge bed we had and gassed us up like we were celebrities. Such a great week. You got free tickets to the Cirque and you're bitching about it because it's not the luxury experience. Yeah, AITA, and pretty damned entitled. Seems like your real problem here is that you don't want stepmom to get anything nice, but it's none of your beeswax what your dad gets for her. I bought tickets for my family for Christmas last year, and even the most basic tickets were like $140. I went to a show with my wife. Tickets cost $400 each. When I went back another time with my kids and their partners, I spent $90 per. We had a great time. There are no bad seats in Las Vegas. Nothing wrong with wanting an extra special experience with your wife. AITA for interrupting my brother-in-law's time with his girlfriend to ask him to buy me chocolate cake. My biggest pregnancy craving right now is chocolate cake. We didn't have any left and my husband was on an important call, so I asked my brother-in-law if he could get it for me, as my husband doesn't think I should be driving or going out late at night alone right now. He was spending time with his girlfriend when I asked, so after he left she was annoyed at me for interrupting them. She said I was rude and I should have got the cake myself or asked somebody else since they were busy and my brother-in-law wasn't my errand boy. I explained why I didn't go myself, but she said I was just making excuses. Well, you have to admit, you were pretty rude to interrupt someone's date because you wanted cake. I believe you can download apps that deliver food instead of inconveniencing other people. AITA. Dunno why everyone's assuming it was a date, she said in a comment that he was just watching TV with her. AITA for separating my dad and his GF and her son during Christmas. My 15F parents have been divorced for 10 years now, but remained amicable until my mom passed away 8 months ago. I used to always spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with my mom, just because it meant more to her and her family than it did my dad. He and his family aren't really big Christmas lovers, but New Year's. That's their deal, they never had a problem. My dad begun to date his now GF 3 years ago. She has a 4-year-old son from a previous relationship, and to be completely fair, the 3 of us aren't really close. I like her son, and I like to play with him when we're in the house at the same time, but she and I aren't really friends, and sometimes I feel she ignores me. This year my dad asked what I wanted to do for Christmas. He offered to drive me to my grandparents and pick me up any day, but it's still lonely after my mom's passing, so I asked if we could celebrate it just me and him, nothing big, and I promised I won't ever ask again. We also didn't had to make a big dinner, and I'll do it with pizza or something, but I wasn't really looking forward to spend the day with anyone else but him. The thing is, my mom and I had a whole ritual that day. We usually woke up at 8 AM, put music, any music, and cooked, baked and wrapped all day while talking and having fun. My dad dropped my present at 3 PM every year, and every year my mom gave him a small container full with desserts. He asked if we could invite his GF and her son, and I, being completely honest, said I'd rather not, but that if he insists and made him happy then okay. He ended up agreeing to be just me and him this year, and some family, including his GF, are not happy since my dad spent the last 2 years with his GF and her son, and people feel like I made him choose. I separated them, and I'm not thinking about her kid like at all. Some cousins called me and I'm wondering, because if I am, I might cancel plans with my dad and just go to my mom's family. Your foo mom died and you're 15. Dad's girlfriend can suck it up and let you have a day with him. God, I'm so sorry you have to go through this. Your dad sounds like a good guy. Hopefully he'll do what's right for you. Hang in there. Losing a mom is the worst. AITA for kicking out my roommate BC of her hygiene. I 23F have a roommate 18F who has zero respect for personal hygiene. We've been living together for 4 months and I can't stand living with her anymore. She doesn't shower. In 4 months she hasn't showered once. However, she goes for a 2H run every morning. I can't stand the smell anymore. It makes me sick to my stomach. I tried to talk to her about it, but she just brushes it off. LR says she'll shower but never does. Last week I told her that I can't stand the way she smells and how the apartment smells because of her, so she either starts showering or I'll have her evicted. Obviously nothing changed, so this morning I contacted the landlord. I explained the situation and asked if he can evict her. He came over and the second he stepped in I could see him trying not to throw up. He called her and told her she has 30 days to move out or she will be removed by force. My roommate is furious and hasn't stopped calling me names. I don't think I'm in the wrong here, but a couple of people told me that I'm being inconsiderate by having her evicted so close to Christmas and that she's in her first year of college and I may be interfering with her studies. So AITA. Update. She saw this post. Oh, this video has come to an end. If you want more such cool stories, then go to one of the many following videos.